Hi there, welcome to Emailgistics, and welcome to your final module of your SLA Management and Message Auditing course, Searching and Viewing the Conversation History. Conversation History feature is one of the most favored features in Emailgistics. This will allow you to see what's happening in a conversation simply by selecting the message that's a part of that conversation in Outlook and clicking on Conversation Details and View History. We also have other options where you can search for your conversation history. Here in Microsoft Outlook, you can see that I have the conversation ID number that's associated with this message. And over on the right here to my add-in, I can see the conversation details. So this is things like the conversation ID number, when the conversation started, the current state of the conversation, who the current owner is, the oldest open message, if there were any replies made in this conversation, and how many messages were in and out during this conversation. You can simply click on View History to get more info on this conversation. Once I click on View History, we'll populate it directly in Microsoft Outlook for you, and then you can see in the conversation history section here what's been happening with this one. So we have filter history here with messages. So I'm able to filter by messages that are in this conversation. So if I select, we only have one here, but if I select this, it's going to show me any action that was taken on this particular message. I can filter this also by activities. So received activities and assigned activities, showing when the message was received and then what happened with assigning messages. So we see that the first message was assigned at 12:40 on August 8th to Rick Ratto, and this was done by a rule called rush messages categorized and assigned to Rick. Then we can see it was also assigned to Rick again through our unsnooze option. So this message must have been snoozed at one point or another. And then it was assigned to Rick again by Rick with the add-in. We can also see when notes were applied. So we see notes that are here, need to follow up with cargo department in 3 hours. We can see snoozed activities. So when the message was snoozed, we can see when messages were unsnoozed. We can see when the message was closed and when messages were reopened, meaning that they were moved from the archive folder back to a user's folder. You can also filter by if any rules were triggered, which users were involved in this message. For example, if this message was assigned over to Zach at one point, so we'll assign it to Zach here, and I go into Zach's folder, select the message, and I click View History, I am now able to see that activity happen. So if I click Assigned, we can see that this message was assigned to Zach by Rick with the add-in on Thursday, August 11th at 3:08 p.m. When you're in the conversation history section, you can open up messages in OWA, which is Outlook Web Application, simply by clicking on the message. We'll populate it directly in this window for you, and you can pull up that message. So if you're not the owner of the message and you didn't get a chance to open this message up in Outlook, or you want to take a look at other messages a part of this conversation that might be in different folders, such as sent, closed, archived, or another user's folder, you're able to pull those up directly here without having to search for them in Outlook. There also is another way to search for these types of conversations in Emailgistics. So if I do a quick refresh here, don't have a conversation ID. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter a conversation ID number here. If I pick up the phone and I have a customer who's referencing this ID number and I want to pull up information on this, this is a great way to be able to search for this message without having to go through Outlook, look at different search options, or go into different people's folders. I can simply in the Emailgistics add-in put in the conversation ID number here and then go ahead and click on search. Once the results populate, I'll have the same options that I did before, where I can go through this conversation, see what happened, and address any needs of the customer immediately without having to search through Outlook or trying to figure out who last was working on the message. I have the conversation ID number, and I have all the information that I need. For more information on conversation IDs, conversation histories, you can always email support@emailgistics.com and we'll be happy to help you. Thank you very much for joining me on this module, Searching and Viewing the Conversation History, all part of your SLA Management and Message Auditing course here at Emailgistics. Thank you very much again, and I'll see you on the next one.